The steady beep of hospital monitors filled the silence as I watched my father process what I'd just shown him. His face, already pale from illness, went almost ghostly white as he read the documents in his trembling hands. This can't be real," he whispered, looking up at me with disbelief. "My name is Olivia Chen, and for 30 years I've lived in the shadow of my perfect sister Isabella. While she was winning beauty pageants and gracing magazine covers, I was building a career as a forensic accountant, a profession my father dismissed as suitable for someone with your looks." "Oh, it's very real," I said calmly, taking the file back from his weakened grasp. "Every transaction, every forged signature, every penny Isabella stole from your company over the past 5 years. All meticulously documented." He shook his head weakly. "No, Isabella would never. She's always been the good one, the beautiful one, the perfect one." I finished for him, unable to keep the bitterness from my voice. "Yes, that's what you've always told me. Why can't you be more like your sister, Olivia? If only you had her beauty, her grace." I pulled out more documents from my briefcase. "But did you ever wonder what Isabella was doing with all those business trips to the Cayman Islands? Or why the company's overseas accounts kept showing discrepancies?" My father's monitors showed his heart rate increasing. "She said she was expanding our international market." "She was expanding something," I agreed, "but it wasn't the market. Would you like to see her private bank accounts? The ones she opened under false names, or maybe the evidence of her selling company secrets to our competitors?" The door opened and Isabella walked in, her perfect makeup and designer outfit a stark contrast to my simple business suit. She stopped short when she saw me. "Olivia? What are you doing here?" Her voice held that familiar note of condescension. "Daddy needs rest, not." She trailed off as she saw the documents spread across his hospital bed. Her carefully composed expression cracked for just a moment, but it was enough. I saw the flash of fear in her eyes. "Hello, sister dear," I said softly. "I was just showing Dad some interesting financial records. Would you like to explain them, or should I?" Isabella recovered quickly, her perfect smile sliding back into place. "Daddy, you shouldn't be looking at business matters right now," the doctor said. "The doctor said no stress," I interrupted. "Which is why I thought he should know about this before the SEC investigation becomes public tomorrow morning." Her smile froze. "What investigation?" "The one I've been building for the past 2 years," I said, watching her face carefully. "Ever since I noticed those interesting transfers from the company accounts. You really should have been more careful, Isabella. Setting up fake vendors using anagrams of your name? Not very creative." Our father struggled to sit up in his bed. "Isabella, what is she talking about?" "She's lying," Isabella said quickly. "She's always been jealous of me, Daddy. You know that. She's trying to turn you against me because you're giving me the company." I pulled out my phone and played a recording. Isabella's voice, crystal clear, discussing insider trading with one of our biggest competitors. The color drained from her face. "That's not all I have," I continued calmly. "Would you like to hear the recording of you arranging kickbacks? Or see the photos of you meeting with industrial spies? I have quite a collection." "You've been spying on me," she hissed, her beautiful face contorting with rage. "No, I've been investigating you. There's a difference. One is personal, the other is professional. And I'm very good at my profession, sister dear." Our father's voice was barely a whisper. "How much?" "What? How much did she steal?" I met Isabella's eyes as I answered. $87 million, that we know of so far, plus an estimated $100 million in corporate secrets sold to competitors. The machines monitoring our father's heart started beeping faster. "Daddy, don't listen to her," Isabella pleaded, reaching for his hand. "She's making this up because she's bitter, because she's not beautiful enough." I finished for her. "That's what you were going to say, isn't it? What you've both been saying my entire life." I turned to our father. "Well, guess what? While you were focused on her perfect face, I was focusing on your company's numbers. And numbers don't lie, even when beautiful people do." Isabella's composure finally cracked. "You self-righteous bitch," she snarled. "You think you can just come in here with your little spreadsheets and ruin everything? Do you know who I am in this city?" "I know exactly who you are," I replied, standing up. "You're a thief who's about to become very famous for all the wrong reasons. The SEC will be here in about," I checked my watch, 20 minutes. I'd use that time to call a good lawyer. The SEC agents arrived exactly on schedule. I watched from a hospital corridor as they escorted Isabella out, her perfect composure finally shattered. She'd tried everything: tears, threats, even attempting to delete files from her phone before they confiscated it. But I'd planned for all of that. Ms. Chen, Agent Sarah Martinez approached me. We'll need you to come in tomorrow to formalize your statement. I nodded, my eyes still on my father's room where he lay in shocked silence. Everything's been arranged. I'll bring the complete forensic audit. After the agents left with Isabella, I returned to my father's room. He looked smaller somehow, diminished not just by illness, but by the weight of truth. Why? He asked as I sat down beside him. Why did you wait until now to expose her? I studied him carefully, this man who had shaped my life with his constant disapproval. Because you needed to see her true face before you signed your company over to her. And because, I paused, because I wanted you to understand what you've done. What I've done. You raised one daughter to believe her beauty made her untouchable, and the other to believe she was worthless because she lacked it. Look how well that turned out. He flinched at my words. Olivia, I never meant. Yes, you did. I cut him off. Every time you praised her looks and ignored my achievements. Every time you dismissed my career because it wasn't glamorous enough. Every time you told me I wasn't pretty enough to represent the family business. I pulled out one final document. But here's what you never understood, Dad. While you were grooming your beautiful daughter to take over, I was actually learning how to run a business, how to spot fraud, how to track money, how to protect assets. What is this? He asked, looking at the paper. Transfer of ownership, I replied. Signed by you 3 months ago when you were reviewing routine documents. You really should read things more carefully before signing them. His hands trembled as he read. You tricked me. No, I protected the company. From Isabella, from your poor judgment, from your obsession with image over substance. I stood up, straightening my jacket. The board has already approved the transition. They've seen the evidence of Isabella's crimes and are quite impressed with how I uncovered them. You planned all of this, he whispered. I learned from the best, I said. Isabella wasn't the only one who inherited your business instincts. She just hid hers behind a pretty smile while I hid mine behind an accounting degree. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings, press conferences, and corporate transitions. Isabella took a plea deal to avoid a longer sentence, though 15 years in federal prison would certainly take a toll on her precious beauty routine. Our father recovered slowly, both from his illness and from the shock of realizing how completely he'd misjudged both his daughters. He asked to see me a month after everything happened. I was wrong, he said simply when I visited him at home. About everything. I sat across from him in his study, remembering all the times I'd stood here as a child, listening to him praise Isabella while critiquing my appearance. Yes, you were, I agreed. The question is, what are you going to do about it? He looked older, tired. What can I do? The company is yours now. Isabella's in prison. I've lost everything. Not everything, I said, pulling out another document. This is a proposal for a new corporate foundation, one focused on supporting young women in business and finance, teaching them that their value isn't in their appearance but in their capabilities. He read it slowly. You want me to help with this? I want you to fund it, I corrected him. Consider it your legacy, not the one you planned, but maybe the one you need. As I left his house that evening, I thought about all the years I'd spent trying to prove myself to him. The irony wasn't lost on me that, in the end, it was my supposed shortcomings, my focus on numbers instead of appearance, my unfeminine attention to detail, that had saved his company. The next morning, I walked into my new office, the CEO's suite that Isabella had once assumed would be hers. The view of the city was spectacular, but what caught my eye was my reflection in the window. I saw what I'd always seen, an average-looking woman in a well-tailored suit, but now I also saw something else. Strength, competence, and a quiet satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about becoming exactly who they said you couldn't be. My phone buzzed. A text from Agent Martinez. Isabella was requesting a visit. I declined. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Instead, I focused on the stack of applications on my desk. Young women applying for the foundation's first round of scholarships. Each one would learn what had taken me years to understand. True power doesn't come from being beautiful. It comes from being underestimated and proving everyone wrong.